Hey everyone, so welcome to the first event of the AutoFlux games. This event is the Fuel Efficiency Challenge. So in this challenge we have a couple of different rules. Basically each car has been given 0.5 liters of fuel, and we're going to see how far they can go on the highway. Now the specific stretch of highway that I've chosen is the West Coast map. Basically we're just going to be driving as far as we can up to a certain point. Once that point is reached, cars can then turn around and then come back, and any car that comes all the way back to the start is granted the maximum amount of points, which is 11, because there are 11 cars in the competition. So everybody will get a point. Now before I go too far into this video, I just wanted to say there's a straw poll that is also part of the competition. It's going to be up for the entire competition, so please vote for your favorite car. I want to get as many votes as possible so it's as fair as possible, but currently right now there aren't too many, so make sure to vote for your favorite car in this series. So another rule in this competition is that what's going to happen is the cars will run out of fuel and the engine will lock up. When the engine locks up, I'm going to hammer on the brakes. So cars with really good brakes will stop sooner and therefore not have as good a chance, but cars with poor brakes will take a longer time to stop from speed, and therefore they'll go farther. So it's sort of a balance between things. Ideal cars for this competition would be light, not much power, and poor brakes. So we do have a few in that range. So just to show you what I mean when I say that cars have 0.5 liters of fuel, if you go to the tuning section, you can see that the fuel volume is set to 0.5, and I've done that for all of these cars. To avoid lag, we are going to run only a few at a time, and then I'll look at the footage later and we'll review the results for the competition. So starting off, we have the race truck. This is an i6 all-wheel drive, 400 horsepower, and it weighs about 1,300 kilos. So let's see how far it will go. I haven't tested most of these cars, so I honestly don't know who's going to win this. This is going to be fun though. Attempt number 2, I kind of messed up that last run. It was lagging pretty hard because of the extra vehicles, so I took them out, and hopefully this time it'll be just a little bit smoother. But I didn't explain one of the rules, and I'll do that now as we take off. But as soon as I'm starting the car, I'm just gunning it. I want to go full acceleration if possible, because some of the vehicles just will spin out instantly if I hammer the trigger. So the engine was disabled, and therefore we locked up the brakes, and yeah, that's it. This is the spot that the truck made it to. So on to the next one. So next on the list is the Brodozer. This is a V8. It's got 435 horsepower. It weighs 2,800 kilos. This is the heaviest vehicle by far in the running. Let's see what it will do. Right, so it's a strong start from the Brodozer. I'm sure that it has burned at least 5 dinosaurs by now. Oh wow, that is out of gas very quick there. The engine locked up in like seconds, so we can still see the starting line back there. Well, that's, I guess that's a run from the Brodozer. Alright, next on the list is the trophy truck. I feel that this is one of the only ones that could probably do worse than the Brodozer. It's got 1,300 horsepower, and it weighs 1,700 kilos, so let's see. So up into the RPMs with this one, I am gonna have to let off a little bit. Oh, that's bad. Alright, so this one has such a high RPM range that I have to be extremely careful with it. Also, wheel spin is a massive issue for this vehicle. And the engine had locked up again, but it was moving so quick that it has slid significantly. Well, the engine actually locked up around the same time that the Brodozer did, but we just left a huge trail of a skid mark there. So next up on the list is the Panther. This is a V12. I had to remake this car a little bit. There are a few cars with changes. You'll also notice that all of them have trailer hitches for the next event. But I had to remake some of the cars just to tweak them because of the new automation update. And this was one of them. The engine was too big, so I had to lower the size of the engine. So because of that, it's a little bit lighter. But I made the engine have about the same amount of horsepower. So it's 645 this time. Rear wheel drive, 1,700 kilos. But it's got such a bad wheel spin issue. This is not going to last long. Alright, we're taking off here in the Panther. It is just wheel spinning for days. Oh my goodness. I don't think I'm going to be able to control it. So the Panther is basically just a wheel spin monster, and it cannot control itself at all at speed. and therefore I have to be very cautious with it, which is actually kind of a good thing in this competition. It has actually gone pretty far, and it's got horrible brakes. Like, the brakes are 100% down right now, and we are still sliding, so not bad overall. We have actually made some pretty decent distance with this. So, on to the next one. Alright, so for this section of the competition, because I unfortunately have to split things into two due to lag, we're going to be running the F1 van and the Disco Puck. So the F1 van is a V8 twin turbo with 590 horsepower, and it weighs very little at 1,180 kilos. So let's see how good it will do. I know again that it's a bit of a wheel spin beast, so this might not go too well. You can see that the lag is a little bit bad as we are looking towards the crowd, and that's why I've decided to split things up. And also redo this run. My goodness, it's bad. So the van has been doing pretty well so far. It hasn't wheel spun out too much. With the turbos kicking in though, it's always a danger that we crash into competition. Out of all the cars so far, this one has been the hardest to get around here. Alright, the van has finally found its home, and it is going pretty decently quick here. It might actually be able to make it past... Oh wow. Well, I'm very hesitant to use full throttle on it, but we have made it pretty far with the van, all the way up to the bridge here. That is a good showing from the van. I'm quite surprised with it. On to the final car for this section. We're going to be driving the Disco Puck, again with the wheel spin issues. The Disco Puck is a 300 horsepower V8, and it also weighs 1,750 kilos. Okay, so far the Disco Puck is able to remain in control of itself, but will it fit through? My goodness, it's a miracle. It actually fit through. The cars with lower horsepower might actually stand a better chance here, and as I say that, this one dies pretty much instantly. Look for your favorite car here as we pan over the area to finish off round one. Seems like we have the Brodozer in last, somewhere near the sign area. Up next, we've got the Disco Puck, which has parked itself firmly just before the bridge. Next up in the ranking, we have the Trophy Truck. Quite far away from there, we have the... Oh, what is this? This is the Panther coming up, actually, with a pretty good showing of making it all the way to nearly getting to this tree. And then after that, we have the Trophy Truck just before the bridge with a big highway splitting sign. Way in the distance, we have the F1 van. I think that it has had some sort of advantage just due to being so uncontrollable that I wasn't able to hold the trigger down all the way, like the throttle down all the way. Alright, so up next we have an assortment of more, I would say, qualified vehicles. These ones are likely to go a little bit longer than the last ones. Unfortunately, the Beamero, in all its 2,900 horsepower glory, had to be recreated into the Beamero 2.0, where the engine was shrunk significantly, but to make up for it, I added a couple things. You'll notice it has exhaust now. Unfortunately, the exhaust is so low to the ground that it pretty much scrapes. I don't exactly know how to fix that. I changed the color to black because I like that more, and it's unfortunately down to 2,600 horsepower. So let's do that one first before the lag takes control of us. I don't anticipate that it's going to get very far. Alright, so we're off in the Beamero. That's not good. This is another wheel spin beast, unfortunately. Wow, that engine was disabled pretty much instantly. Goodness, but its jumping around is going to be helping it. Yeah, we'll just let it sit there off to the side in its unfortunate shame. I think that might be the worst one yet. The official's gonna have to review the footage on that one. So next up on the list we have the Hillclimb Car. Unfortunately, again, it had some graphical issues with the latest automation update, so I replaced the front and the back trim pieces. Unfortunately, they turned out white. I don't know why. Also, the wheels changed, so I had to change the size of those. I don't know what happened, but yeah, the newest update kind of just broke a bunch of these cars, so I had to remake them. It's pretty much the same. I forgot to give the specs on the Beamero, but it weighs almost 2,000 kilos. This one is a V8, it's 700 horsepower, and it weighs 1,380 kilos, so should be pretty decent. So it's a blistering start from the Hillclimb Car. This one is quite controlled, so no need for the wheel spin issues. Goodness, we are flying though. Wow, 250 kilometers. And the engine has locked up. The brakes on this one are unfortunately very good, so we've come to a very nice stop right at the side of the road. This is the kind of stuff that the ref likes to see. Up next is a car that my girlfriend made. She calls it Pearl's Revenge because it used to be Pearl, but the game did not export it in Pearl. I don't know why. I guess Beam does not like pearlescent colors. But it is a Boxer twin turbo. It's actually a 5.4 liter Boxer, so it's quite big. And it makes 420 horsepower. It weighs, again, nearly 2,000. I don't know how well it's going to do. It is all around a very well balanced car, though. No wheel spin issues from this one because it's all-wheel drive. Pretty fast start. Pretty poor driver. Getting through that toll booth always has its issues, but anyways, that was a choice I was willing to make here. So far, so good on this car. We have flown past the Bimero. No need to even think about that one, as its strengths are elsewhere, we'll say. And the engine locked up pretty much exactly where the Hillclimb Car stopped. So, yeah, not bad. The brakes on this car are horrifically bad, so that's a pretty good showing there. Not bad at all. So, only 2 cars left. These are the ones that I anticipate on winning. These are the ones that I invented the turnaround rule for. So we're just going to have to see what they'll do, but I'm fairly certain that it's going to be quite good. So up first is going to be the ultralight car. This is a 100 horsepower i4. It is very light. Unfortunately, due to mistakes made in just general building of it, it does have a semi-space frame. Both of these cars do, but they also have their own little quirks and things. But semi-space frame is heavier than monocoque carbon fiber. People have been telling me that, and I just sort of realized it the other day when I was messing around in the game. Thank you for telling me that. I do pay attention to suggestions. I just was dumb and didn't see it. But anyway, these cars are still very light. They're like 500 kilos each, and this one has a particularly large amount of power in comparison to the one on the left, but we'll get into that in a second, so let's do it. So we're off in a blistering start. I think this car is all-wheel drive. Okay, it's hard to control. It's a little twitchy, but we're flying. Now, I anticipate that this car and the 50 horsepower car are going to need to turn around at the ref, and I think I mentioned that before, but it's pretty much just a competition between these two as to who's actually going to need to turn around or not, and then how far they go on the way back. It's going to be a pretty decent competition here. We have flown past every car so far, and I think we're going to be getting up to the ref soon. I believe that we've already passed the top point for the previous run of cars. So what I'm doing now is the ref is just parked up here. We're going to turn around at this sign and continue back this way, just with another hard acceleration. I was honestly concerned that it would be possible that the 50 horsepower car would just extend through the entire track, so we'll have to see that in a second. So far this one has been able to do quite a bit though, as we are flying past cars on the way back. Oh, engine is locked up, hard on the brakes. And that's it for this car. That is very good. It has cleared quite a significant distance, even on the way back. It's almost all the way back. This one has a weird glitch where if you put down the handbrake, the wheels will go in reverse, so we're just going to leave that off. So, the long anticipated 50 horsepower vehicle that we expect to win. Somebody noted that it has a solid axle up front with leaf springs, and they were very correct. At some point during the building process, it switched to leaf springs with a solid axle, and I couldn't lower the ride height, so it sits like a monster truck, but it's 500 kilos, 50 horsepower, and it's quite fast. Let's see how it does in this fuel efficiency challenge. Alright, so it's a blistering start from the 50 horsepower car. No need to worry about wheel spin because it's barely got any torque. It's a very small i4. This car is unique because it's able to pick up some serious speed while having about half the power of that blue car, and yet it weighs about the same. I'm really interested to see how these cars are going to do in some of the future challenges that I've come up with for this series. So we have flown by all the competition so far. We're coming up to the ref just past that big yellow and green sign up there, and then we're going to be on our way back. I'm hopeful that this car can make it all the way to the beginning again. That would be incredibly cool. Alright, hard on the brakes, twisting around. That's a little bit more rough than the previous car, but this one is also rear-wheel drive instead of all-wheel, so it's a little bit harder to control. This one might have a chance of making it all the way to the end. Alright, we've passed Pearl's Revenge, and we're coming up to pass the Hillclimb Car, and I can see in the distance the ultralight race car up there, and we have flown by them. Oh goodness, are we going to go all the way to the end? There's the Beamng and all its pitiful fuel economy. We're just flying through the toll booth now. And engine disabled, but it made it to the end. Make sure to spot your favorite car here in the last section once again. We've got the 50 horsepower car slammed up against the barrier. This is by far first place. The max downforce car is going to be in second place. That can be guaranteed. Alright, there's the Beamng, and it's probably last place glory. I think the only thing that it could fight against here would be the Brodozer. Max downforce car here. This is by far in second place. Of the only two cars to come back, it was the least distance. Up over here we've got the Hillclimb Car. Pretty good showing considering how much power it has. It is quite a beast and the fastest car around the track, but in this situation not so much. When it comes to races and things, I anticipate that the Hillclimb Car is probably going to win most of them, and that's why it's kind of good that this balances it out. Alright, here's Pearl's Revenge, right underneath the San Amaro sign. So, the official has reviewed the footage, and the winners have been declared. In first place, we have the ultralight car. That would be the 50 horsepower ultralight car, with 11 points. It made it all the way to the end, and it gets its 11 points, very well deserved. Max downforce car, in second place, 10 points. This one was the second car to, actually it was the first car to be able to turn around, and of the two cars that were able to turn around, they both came first and second, so pretty good. A surprising third place is actually the F1 van. Now, there was a bit of controversy. The officials are still talking about it as to whether the F1 van deserves to be in third or not, due to some accusations that it may not have been following all of the rules by not having the pedal all the way down, because it is physically incapable of doing so. But anyways, Pearl's Revenge comes into a fourth place with 8 points. A good showing from that car. It is an all-around good car, and I think you'll see that more as the competition progresses. Then we have the mini truck, 7 points, Panther, 6 points, Hillclimb Car in 5th, Trophy Truck 4th, not too surprising. The Disco Puck, I thought it would do better personally, but it's third from the end. Brodozer and then Beamng in last place with 1 point. Not a great showing from the high horsepower heavy vehicles, but that's kind of what you expect in a fuel efficiency challenge. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this series, if you have any more ideas for it, let me know as well. I'm going to keep making videos like this for a while. This is only event 1, I have a few more events planned, but we're going to continue the leaderboard until all of the events are done, and the straw poll is going to be on the leaderboard as well, so please make sure to vote on that. I don't exactly know how I'm going to spread out the points if all the cars just have one vote, so please vote for your favorite car. Don't be afraid to vote a few times on different devices. Make sure that your voice is heard through the straw poll. So yeah, subscribe, and I'll see you in a few days.